If Deadpool was actually here, he'd take one look at this first entry and make a snarky comment. I know the list says MCU characters, and Deadpool isn't exactly part of the MCU quite yet, but I think that's only a minor inconvenience. Because come on, we all know he's on his way. Even if he stays in his own separate universe for a while, Disney owning Fox means Deadpool is just part of the multiverse, and therefore part of the MCU, so it counts. Anyways, Deadpool has probably one of the best abilities of any superhero. On top of his increased speed, strength, agility, and the fact that he looks like Ryan Reynolds, he also has one of the best healing factors around. You could do practically anything you want to the Merc with the Mouth. Blow him up, freeze him in carbonite, have the Hulk sit on him. He'll always come back. It also means he'll never actually die. And that's great news, right? I don't know what the future holds, but I want Deadpool to always be there making outrageous comments and looking straight into the camera, don't you? Not all death means an ending. It's true in terms of Scarlet Witch, who's another character who will never actually die. Let me explain. Scarlet Witch has had a unique journey in the MCU so far, with her powers being incredibly vaguely defined. I mean, when your first major appearance you're just described as weird and then leave it at that for like 4 movies, then it kind of gives the impression that you don't want to fully explain how Wanda's powers work or their limitations. But if you actually trace her journey, it's been clear she's getting stronger and stronger with each passing movie. Does that mean she'll never die? Not necessarily, but thanks to WandaVision, we know she's able to create alternate realities with her powers. What this means is that perhaps her consciousness will never truly die. If she was ever in real danger, I would like to think her consciousness can escape into a world of her own creation and live there forever. Is that a radical thought? Totally, but I wouldn't put it past Scarlet Witch, who's shaping up to be one of the most powerful heroes in the entire MCU. Doctor Strange is the best magician in the world. He's the Sorcerer Supreme. If that title tells us anything, it's that death isn't really a factor anymore. Look at the previous Sorcerer Supreme, the Ancient One, whose age was not known, and the only thing we found out about her is that she looked vaguely Tilda Swinton-y, but it certainly looked like she was on the path to live forever until she was mortally wounded. If that wasn't the case, it looked like the magical energy that flowed through her would continue to keep her alive. And now, all that power resides in Doctor Strange. And I think Doctor Strange is even stronger than the Ancient One, which says a lot about his lifespan. He seems so powerful that unless Baron Mordo shows up and attacks Doctor Strange while he's taking his evening bath, then Doctor Strange doesn't have to worry about death. And that's even without the Time Stone, which would have definitely prolonged his life indefinitely, if he chose to use it as such, of course. Alright, do I think Thor will never die? Well, it depends. Will Fat Thor stick around eating leftover cheese puffs from underneath the couch cushion? Or are we gonna get the Greek statue come to life Thor that we've seen in previous movies? Well, if Chris Hemsworth's workout photos are to be believed, Thor is back in fighting shape. But with Thor getting back to his impressive physique, it also might come with some handy perks. Mainly, immortality. Yes, it's been said that the average lifespan of an Asgardian is like 5,000 years or so years. But we know even that can be prolonged. Look at Odin. It's tricky to nail down his birth certificate, so I can't tell you his exact age, but if we base it off comics as well as some comments in the movies, then Odin could be millions of years old. When Thor faces Surtur, he tells the fire demon that he thought Odin killed him 500,000 years ago. Now, this could just be Thor having some fun, but if it's true, then Odin was seriously old. And because Thor's Odin's son and looks to be even more powerful, it would only be natural for Thor to live just as long as Odin. And hey, if this means more Taika Waititi Thor movies every few years for 1,000,000 years, I wouldn't be opposed to it. You ever wish you were a robot? Robots have it easy a lot of the time. Man, being a robot is the life. Oh, the other big thing is that you could potentially never die. Let's look at Vision, for example. Vision is a hero who never got enough respect in the MCU movies. He was made to be one of the most powerful heroes ever thanks to his vibranium body coupled with his Jarvis and Ultron intellect. His biggest strength and weakness was that stone in his head. It gave him life, and Vision looked to be on his way to the scrapyard when Thanos sauntered up and ripped the Mind Stone out of his forehead. And that seemed like it was going to be the end of it. Of course, then WandaVision was announced, promising Vision's return. And no matter if this is the real Vision or just some construct that Wanda's powers created, it does make one thing clear. Vision never has to die. He basically just needs a proper power source, and he can be brought back. And if that's not enough, then Wanda can just construct a reality where Vision is alive and well. Easy, right? Groot's proven that no matter how many sticks he explodes into, he can just start over. Sure, if one Groot dies, then that's technically the end of that Groot, and a new Groot grows and takes its place, meaning Groot can actually die. But until we see a new adult Groot to see if he acts any different than the OG Groot, then I'll still count it all as one character. And if you don't agree with me, I have a letter from Groot himself explaining the whole situation. It says,
I am Groot.
I am Groot.
I am Groot.
I am Groot!
Incredible writing, Groot. Thank you for that. I like how he said, I am Groot. That part really stuck with me. This list includes Deadpool, which means we're contractually obligated to include Wolverine too. Trust me, I tried to leave Wolverine off, but he just started calling me Bub a bunch of times, and I got too scared to say no. Again, Wolverine is a special case. He's not quite in the official MCU yet, but it's only a matter of time. For years, we've gotten used to Hugh Jackman's performance as Logan, but now it's time for someone else to take over the role and inherit the adamantium claws. Plus, I expect his healing factor is going to work a lot differently. In the Fox universe, Hugh Jackman had been playing the role for over 15 years, and it was time to retire the character permanently. This led to the explanation of his healing factor wearing off in his old age, and a few other important factors that led to his demise. But really, Wolverine should never be able to die. His healing factor is incredibly strong, and just like Deadpool, it keeps him coming back every time he's injured. Plus, on top of the healing factor, he has that adamantium skeleton, which already boosts his chances to never actually die. The cosmic side of the MCU taught us all one thing: that Earth doesn't know anything about anything. We've had these mystical items on Earth for so long, but I don't think we ever fully understood their abilities. It's why it's so hard to pinpoint whether Captain Marvel will ever die now or not. Thanks to the exposure from the Tesseract, Carol Danvers became the strongest hero in the universe, and it also had the side effect of slowing down her aging to a snail's pace. But I think it's also not too crazy to assume Captain Marvel will never die. For one, I don't see any force in the universe strong enough to beat her in battle, so with that worry out of the way, I would imagine the Tesseract powers are going to keep her alive and relatively looking the same for thousands and thousands of years. Can you believe that? Dormammu was a powerful villain that I think got the short end of the stick in terms of one-off big bads. Like, come on, in other solo movies, our heroes had to face people like Obadiah Stane, Whiplash, and Malekith the Dark Elf. But no, Doctor Strange didn't have it that easy. In the first Doctor Strange movie, Dormammu was the ruler of the Dark Dimension and worked tirelessly to absorb all other universes. This kind of evildoer isn't one that can be beaten with a single punch or a powerful blast. In fact, he really can't be straight up beaten, and he certainly will never die. Old Dormy will certainly be trying to spread his dark dimension everywhere for as long as there's a universe in general. Seriously, keep an eye out for him. While Gamora was the golden child, Nebula was like a fast food meal that you left sitting out on the counter for a few days. No matter how hard Nebula tried, Gamora always outperformed her, with every loss making Thanos upgrade Nebula's body to make it stronger. Well, there's one thing Nebula will win at, and that's a long life. I'm sure Gamora will live a long life if she doesn't make a habit of being sacrificed for the Soul Stone, but it has nothing on Nebula. Just like Vision, if there's a part broken, you fix it. And that sort of thing will ensure that Nebula has a very long life ahead of her.